Good morning, my wonderful people. Merry Christmas to all my Christian brothers and sisters out there. Today is December 25th, and as I speak, it's 5:47 a.m. I'm still on my first coffee, so excuse the slowness of things. I want to introduce you today to intimacy of planets as viewed by the lens of Vedic astrology. So, what does this mean? What are the Venus, Moon, and Mercury really about in terms of intimacy? But first, always remember this slide, okay? It's about choice, it's about intent, it's about calibration to the other person. Those three, in regard to consciousness and all the six elements I have shown on the screen, is what creates intimacy. Intimacy is a choice, it's a creation. You have to work with another. What is your choice? You have to choose. That's what conscious intimacy is about. You have to have a good intent. What's your intent? If your intent is a demand, if your intent is trying to change the other person, which what most people do anyway, then you land up in the zone of karma. Look, your chart is a whole bunch of karma, a whole bunch of imprints, leftovers from past lives. But there is a choice. In this new energy, in the kind of earth we are living now and going forward, it is all about your choice. It is no longer about your karma. So you have choices whether to go with consciously or leave it to karma to play out its game with you. It's your choice again. And you have to have calibration, okay? You have to calibrate to the other person. If the choice is good, if your intent is noble, then you have to learn to calibrate. And that's why I'm bringing you these principles. Now let's get into the planets and what they mean. Okay, let's go through one by one. Your Venus, wherever it is placed, your Moon, wherever it is placed in your chart, and Mercury, wherever it is placed. These are the guideposts of getting that proper calibration, one partner to the other, in terms of intimacy. Venus is your value system, Taurus. Taurus, think Libra, Venus, the lords of. Eyes, Venus are your eyes, physical eyes. Venus is also your inner perception. Venus is your sexual organs. Venus is your very DNA. Venus is creation of beauty. That's why we make all these fantastic grand temples in the ancient civilizations. Venus is your aesthetic sense. What is your sense of what a beauty is like? That also changes depending upon where the Venus is, which sign, which house, which nakshatra. All of these changes in it. The coloring of these planets is what is determined by the zodiac signs and the nakshatras and the house placement. Last but not the least is Venus is water element, and so is Moon, but slightly different qualities to them. Next comes, let's say, Mercury, down below here. Mercury is your intelligence, your intellectual capacity. Mercury also stands for innocence. People forget innocence, like puppy love, when you were young children, pre-pubescent. You were all engaging with one another. You were opening up girls' skirts. Girls were pulling up, teasing boys and so on. That's a puppy love, isn't it? That's the innocence of Mercury. There is no hormonal rush kicked in yet. Prepubescent, I'm talking. That is innocence. That's why Mercury stands for little children. It's innocence. It's play. Mercury loves to play. Children love to play. Everything children think of Mercury. Simple. And how you bring it forward as an adult, like Jesus used to say, if you have to enter the kingdom of God, you have to be innocent. You have to be like a child. That comes into play in intimacy. Mercury also stands for your skin, the physical skin. The largest organ in your body is your skin. You can research this all you want. But if you want Mercury to engage in physical contact, in intimacy of all kinds, you have to learn to touch properly. You have to learn to hug. You have to learn to kiss properly. You have to learn all these physical skin-related things. Even the act of copulation is basically skin upon skin, isn't it? It's very intimate. But you have to have innocence and play involved there. Then things get really interesting. Mercury is also a logical sense. What makes sense to you, right and wrong, about the other person? We're talking in terms of intimacy, so I'm translating as best I can in intimacy terms, you might say. Mercury is the earth element. So think of all the flowering plants, potted plants that people have in the houses. Mercury is nature. Mercury is trees. You go into the forest and you see only Mercury everywhere. The green. Mercury's color is the green. So earth element. Mercury provides that grounding. Mercury provides the skin. Mercury provides also the nerves. I have not mentioned it here. Skin and nerves is dominantly Mercury. Your nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic, the whole lot of it. Whereas moon is emotion. Moon is mother. But in terms of intimacy, what is moon? Moon is emotion. Moon is peace. The fourth house, Cancer, the peace of the heart. Okay? That's what is desired within intimacy. Everybody wants peace alongside the other person. You're looking for companion, fine. But how you be with the companion without losing yourself, but yet expanding your consciousness. I spoke of this. It's also the heart, it's also the subconscious mind. Whatever you're getting in your 12th house, for example, is also the moon. Whatever your emotional intelligence is, whatever is sitting in your 4th house, is also the moon. Wherever moon is sitting in, that's again obviously the moon. And it's also the water element. In this case, moon is like Cancer, the sign of Cancer, I mean. It's flowing water, and I've spoken of this much earlier on, a couple of years ago on this channel, I think. So, moon is your water element. As a flowing water, think of a river. That's moon. That's 4th house, that's Cancer. So, flowing water, and Venus is the water element as the molecules of water, H2O, the ground level of things, is Venus. Mercury is all the forest and everything else that goes on in the green world, flora and fauna. So keep these things in mind. I want to quickly jump into the next one, which is the Punarvasu Nakshatra, so that we have a great deal of leverage in discussing the Nakshatra. Let's see Punarvasu Nakshatra matches now. So now we have man's moon in Punarvasu Nakshatra and the woman's moon in Hasta Nakshatra, which is the 4th position. So we have a 4-10 dynamic playing out here, isn't it? I'm not taking the 3rd position because there are no Devganas present there. The next Devgana after Punarvasu in the 4th position only occurs with Hasta Nakshatra. So let us see what that dynamic gives us. Punarvasu in Gemini for man and Hasta Virgo for a woman. This pairing is very dynamic in the sense both are airy fairy signs. Punarvasu is airy Gemini. Virgo is again Hasta grounded but Mercurian sign. So essentially we are talking about 2 Mercurian matches. So it's very mental in nature. So Punarvasu, Gemini man, what does he bring to the table? Renewal, optimism, conversational bonding, adaptability, emotional reset, curiosity with forgiveness, and lightness after conflict. Hasta, the Virgo woman in this case, brings skill, precision, service, reliability, practical care, emotional containment through action, and quiet competence. Hasta is very handsy person, isn't it? Punarvasu in Gemini essentially is looking for more emotion. It's a very dry kind of place. In Punarvasu, you can see the life lessons of Punarvasu Nakshatra if you don't know what I mean. Life lessons of Nakshatras are very important to understand before you get into intimacy. Very, very important. The 410 axis signature in this relationship, in this dynamic, is inner reassurance versus outer competence. Inner versus outer plays on in 410. Emotional reset versus daily structure. Talking heals. Punarvasu wants to talk in Gemini. Action stabilizes Hasta. Home feeling versus life management. This is again that 410 dynamic he's talking of. Support versus responsibility. This is a function first intimacy axis. Both are looking for how does this give any results to me? Very result oriented. Closeness grows by showing up, fixing things, organizing things, and improving life together. That's the dynamic. That's synastry. Masculine moon in Punarvasu man, how does this play out? He bonds through conversation and optimism. He de escalates conflict quickly. Punarvasu does not like conflicts. Needs emotional permission to start again because it's a reinventing nakshatra. It's the light that returns. It's the story of Lord Rama, for example. Feels loved when heard and encouraged. Keywords here being reassurance, verbal intimacy, forgiveness, and lightness. The feminine moon, the Hasta woman, on the other hand, bonds through usefulness and consistency. Hasta wants to feel useful. It's a very grounded sign. Virgo expresses love via care, via routines, via problem solving. The Hasta woman wants to provide nurturing and support. Needs appreciation for effort. She needs to be appreciated for whatever she's doing, maybe taking care of the home front. Feels safe when life is orderly and dependable. She's very grounded. She looks for dependable people in her partnerships. Keywords here being service, trust, reliability, and practical affection. That's what she looks for. The sexual intimacy dynamics playing out would be refined, attentive, and gradual. Mental foreplay versus impulsive action. A little bit of calibration there. Touch guided by care and responsiveness. Rhythm improves with routine and feedback. Desire deepens through trust and competence. What am I talking about these things in terms of sexuality? You might ask. Everything. Ask a relationship counselor, they will tell you. Man's arousal keys in this case will become conversation, reassurance, and emotional warmth. The Punarvasu man. Woman's arousal keys here become clean signals, patience, attentiveness, and skill. If you have a skill as a Punarvasu man, if you're living with a Punarvasu woman, Hasta woman, she'll be very attentive to what skill sets you have, how good you are with your hands, maybe in the domestic affairs, not necessarily work. Best expression for this for her is slow build, mutual adjustment, calm confidence. We know each other type of intimacy. The friction words can become over-analysis, emotional dryness, especially with Punarvasu. A lot of emotional dryness is there. If appreciation is missing. Talking versus doing imbalance. Too much talking goes on. Mercurial signs, both of them. Not enough action or grounding. Criticism versus optimism mismatch. Criticism who? Hasta Nakshatra, classical, Virgo. Criticism. Optimism is Punarvasu in this case. Words dismiss effort. Effort, policies, expression. Okay, that's the dynamic playing out for Punarvasu man with Hasta woman. Next, let's see Punarvasu with Revati, the tenfold dynamic. Now we come to man in Punarvasu, moon, and lady in Ashwini in the 11th position from his moon. So it's 11-3 dynamic playing out, isn't it? First of all, if I look at this, I think very, very charged, high energy of communication, very high support and high achievers type of couple here. That's the dynamic, basically. Let's see the details. Punarvasu Gemini man, moon in Punarvasu. Emotional reset, optimism, conversational bonding, adaptability, forgiveness, reframing, and lightness of conversation. That's what he's good at. Whereas she brings initiation, speed, instinct, courage, actions first, emotions later, spark, and rapid attachment. That's the dynamic. And 11-3 axis here plays out like future gains versus immediate effort. Ashwini wants everything now, like yesterday. Hope versus action, reframing and starting over once again. Friends to lovers tone. 11-3 typically tends to become that. You become friends first and you're so attracted to them that they sort of complement you in many other ways. Momentum based bonding. Like I said, energy is very quick here. Anyway, I think Gemini and Aries matching, it's like, wow, lots of energy movement. Immediately I get a sense of that. There's growth to movement axis. Intimacy builds by trying again, launching fast, and learning on the go. Yeah, hit the ground running. It's a very fast energy, okay? Punarvasu heals through talk, humor, and forgiveness in this case. Ashwini energizes through decisions, first moves, and courage. She will initiate. She's like that woman on top classical situation here. Keywords being motivational chemistry, emotional bounce back, shared initiatives, fast recovery after conflict. Ashwini becomes the starter. She's the initiator in this case. Punarsu becomes the restorer. What about the attraction and intimacy tone? It becomes one of playfulness, youthfulness, spontaneous, sexually quick to spark. Yes, there's whatever is there in the other forms of bonding, it will carry also to the sexual part, isn't it? Friendship driven desire. They need to be friends first for this to work to any degree, really. Intimacy thrives here when they do projects together, when they undertake short trips together, find out new experiences, go traveling together, maybe verbal warmth, physical spontaneity, risky words being impatience, like I said, very high energy dynamic. Inconsistency, starting more than sustaining. What will sustain this? Both this couple have to look for it if you are engaged in such a thing. You have to find this. This is the exciting part of exploring. Emotional shortcuts, not a good idea. Burn, reset cycles. Too much of burnouts, too much of reset, too much of please forgive me business. Action ignores reassurance, forgiveness enables repeat chaos. See, it's a dynamic. It can fail if that happens. This is a high energy, fast recovery 11-3 pairing, excellent for momentum, collaboration, and resilient bonding. It's good for if you have movement, optimism, and shared goals. Like I said, keep some factor of grounding, keep some factor of doing projects together, setting goals together, and achieving as a unit. That will sustain this particular bonding. Otherwise, it goes as fast as it has appeared. And you need to have some emotional flexibility. I think that would be a given. Don't be rigid. There's no rigidity in this energy. Stillness, deep emotional gravity, and slow burn attachment. So that finishes up Punarvasu. Intimacy factors. There is no other match. I've already covered the other principles. Go through the principles first if you are finding any degree of difficulty in this. Okay? I shall see you in the next. What is the next one? Now we move to Cancer. I think we have finished with Gemini. So we'll go to Pushya Nakshatra. That's next. Punarvasu I've already covered. So I won't cover Punarvasu there. Although this is in Cancer, last pada. We'll directly move to Pushya Nakshatra. Take care. Be safe. Now let's take the next one. Punarvasu man versus Revati woman. So there's the position of the planets. Okay, what does this dynamic lead us into? This is a 10-4 relationship. Let us see what the 10-4 dynamic brings. This is a renewal versus finding refuge. Revati is a refuge in this case. So the Punarvasu man typically has emotional resets in this kind of relationship. A lot of optimism, a lot of conversational bonding. I want to step aside for a minute, and if you think Mercury is a very dry, mimicry. Mercury is all about mimicry and dryness, but in intimacy you need more skin, more touch. That part of Mercury which I spoke of in the first slide. So think of converting your conversational dynamic in with your partner in terms of more touching, more hugging, more kissing, that kind of thing. Adaptability, forgiveness, lightness, start again kind of energy, because it's renewing type of energy, Punarvasu. Moon in Revati, on the other hand, is compassion. It's about completion, it's about emotional sanctuary, devotion, guidance, surrender, and soulful holding. This is keywords, okay? Now, what does 10-4 axis signature provide? Outer movement versus inner peace. Outer movement being Punarvasu in Gemini. She is desiring for inner peace here. Mental renewal versus emotional rest. Pisces is a sign of rest, hope, and healing. That's another dynamic. Reframing and accepting. World facing effort, Punarvasu, versus home of the heart kind of feeling. Emotional and psychological pattern here tends to be like Punarvasu heals through talk, humor, and reframing. Revati, on the other hand, heals through presence, empathy, and containment. That empathy which I spoke of in the first slide, that plays out here. That's why you have to remember all those key principles. Go through this any number of times if you really wish to have intimacy. Keywords: general reassurance, emotional forgiveness, nervous system calming, Revati, Trust without pressure, soft guidance. Revati becomes the emotional anchor or the home. Punarvasu becomes the emotional restarter. The sexual intimacy tone here assumes soft magnetism. Emotional safety first, Revati wants that. She wants that. Sensitivity over speed, rhythm guided by trust. Arousal keys being Punarvasu is aroused here in this relationship only by verbal warmth, reassurance, and emotional permission. He has to ask permission each time because she is very soft, very vulnerable in this case. Listening helps, reassurance helps, shared meaning and cultivation of quiet closeness. Risky factors being over idealization, Revati. Emotional overgiving, again, Revati. Avoidance of practical decisions, Punarvasu. One sided emotional carrying, Revati. Fails if hope avoids grounding or compassion replaces boundaries. Boundaries is very important when it comes to air signs, moon in air signs, okay, especially in Gemini, Punarvasu. Because air is drifting all around. Look at the element of air. Air signs, typically Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, they are constantly moving and penetrating everything, even the nakshatras within them. There's a hint there. So you've got to be careful of boundaries when you talk of Moon, Mercury, or Venus placed in air signs. Too much of talking, too much of blah, blah, blah. This is a healing, emotioning 10-4 pairing, which is restorative, forgiving, and quietly enduring. Best for those who value emotional safety, gentle intimacy, renewal through compassion. Not ideal for those seeking high stimulation, sharp conflict, and constant novelty. This is not that kind of a relationship. So essentially, you're saying you're consciously taking a partner whom you can bond with. So that's why you need to understand yourself first. That's why I do personality counseling in this channel. I bring forth many things to MBTI, Enneagram, bridge to Vedic Astrology, Nakshatras. Why all this stuff, you might ask? Well, you need to do this consciously. This is a conscious effort, folks. This is not given to you on a platter. If you want to step back from all the effort that consciousness would take, go through your karma. And that's it. Whatever will come, will come. Whatever you deal with, you'll deal with your unconscious propensities. That's the way the game works. Learn the game, rules of the game. Next, we shall take the last one, which is the 11-3 dynamic. Punarvasu to Ashwini Nakshatra. That's in the next slide. Keep watching.